are at the whiteboard, and I want to illustrate the point I made about having a bevel angle to match the project. Here's a fairly large, shallow bowl. So if I'm going to ride the bevel as I come down this curve, I can make it all the way to the center without the handle running into the rim and interfering. But on a smaller bowl, like I have drawn here to the left, if I start that same cut and come around here, I'm going to run into the rim of the bowl because this bevel doesn't allow me to get all the way to the center. And so for this bowl, I'm going to need a shorter bevel angle to do it. And this one I can get away with a longer bevel angle. So on our deep bowls, where the bowls may be even deeper than this, I'm going to use what we call a bottom feeder, which is simply a bowl gouge with a very, very short bevel. And at the end of turning the inside of our demo bowl today, I'll show you how that tool actually gets the job done. Are there other ways to do it? Yes, and we'll cover those later in another lesson. So let's get back to the lathe, set up our project, start our cuts, and then complete the inside of this bowl. Okay, I've taken the bowl off of the faceplate, and I'm going to mount it in my 4-jaw chuck. The tenon has been prepped properly. I'm going to press it snugly against those jaws while I tighten the key. And then I'm going to go to the other hole and tighten some more. And I'm going to keep doing that as long as I can get purchase on this bowl. If I can move the key, then I'm going to keep tightening. These jaws are compressing around that tenon, and as a result, it's biting in. That whole piece would eventually be cut off. So we're ready to start here. I'm going to bring my tool rest around square because my first cut is going to be just to face this off and get it nice and flat. I've chosen these two gouges to use. One is a standard 3/8 bowl gouge with about a 40 some odd degree bevel on it. Like I said before, I don't know quite what the right angle is. The other tool I'm going to be using is a bottom feeder, which was simply a gouge that we went to the grinder and ground like this, creating a really stubby bevel. I have a little tongue tie there. But anyway, we'll use that at the very bottom. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get started. I'm going to make my first cut, handle down 45, flute 45, but the tool rest is parallel with the face here. And my cut is going to be like this. I'm going to start the cut in the center, and literally I'm just going to lean backward. And the purpose of this is to face this off. If you have a blank that's very rough, you'll probably hit some high spots, skip over the low spots, and keep doing that until the face is flat. Speed still about the same speed, about 1500. I don't know if you can hear that, but I could hear it going tat, 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 tat. And that means that those spots were higher than other spots. And so it took 2 pulls across here to get this surface reasonably flat. It's not perfect, and I don't care. But I do know that I'm not going to start making cuts like this, and I want to push this tool against a nice flat surface. Okay, ready to start these internal cuts. My cuts are going to be different than this. I'm going to have the tool handle horizontal, so I need to recheck that the tool is going to actually pass dead through the center of this blank. Remember, my first cuts were the handle down. Now the handle is going to be level, and I can see that I'm a little bit low, about 1/4 inch. So slight adjustment, tool rest. Recheck. Looks pretty good. Okay, let's describe what this cut's going to look like. I'm going to start off with the gouge in such a position that the flute is absolutely vertical, like this. If I rotate it very slightly and engage this flat face, it could skate off either direction. So I'm going to start vertically. It's going to create a small groove, which gives the tip of the tool a place to ride, so I have support at the surface, support on the tool rest, and support with my hand out here. And then as I proceed with the cut, I'm going to roll it open and then begin to use more of the bevel to make this cut across like that. With the gouge, it's going to look like this. Handle is behind the ways, almost 45 degrees. My wrist is over-rotated, pronated is the word. My left hand is a pivot point, my thumb specifically. So I'm going to start by going straight down, creating a small groove, and then pivoting around my thumb and bringing that handle back to parallel. It unrolled the tool. I've created a curve inside, and I'm going to stop right here on these first few cuts. It's like rowing a boat. So watch for the little groove, and once the groove is established, the tip is supported and I can complete the cut. Okay, here we go. Same speed, around 1500, 1600. Small groove. Now, I'm going to add part 3 to this. Down, around, and now I have material in the center that has to go away. So I did down, I did around, and you can see there's a curve starting here. But now once I get the hand squared off here, I'm going to use my left thumb simply to push across. Down, around, and once I'm squared off here, across. So I'm going to add a third component to this cut. And as you can see, I can do that as many times as I want. This hand and the position tool stayed the same. All I did was push across here to remove actually the garbage around where that drill hole originally was for the screw chuck. So let's expand this and keep going. As you see, there's a rhythm builds up here. Down, around, across. I'm going to come out here to establish my wall thickness. I'm not going to go down much farther, oh, maybe halfway, because I don't want this to get too thin out here until I get it perfected. So I'm going to come out, work this way out, down a little bit more, and then I'll talk to you about working down into the bottom. That wasn't very good. What happened is I overpowered the lathe. I took a bite here that's so big that actually I heard the belt slip in the lathe. So the problem is I back off a little bit to make that cut again. Now, here's another situation. As I get further over this way, you see my hand beginning to bounce a little bit because the tool, which was hanging over this far, is now hanging over this far. And that gives more leverage to the bowl, and this hand doesn't have a lot of support. So I'm going to make an adjustment in the tool rest. I'm going to take it inside the bowl to shorten that distance between the face of the wood and the support on the tool. I have so much support for the edge of this tool in here that I literally could use it without this hand because it's supported here and I've got really good support. It's not recommended. Now I'm not going to go down any farther, but I am going to come out here and establish the thickness of the rim, and I'm going to work the top 1 inch and get it perfect. As I work down and bring this handle around, I'm watching this edge and I'm trying to parallel with this outside edge, trying to match that curve. And I'm going to get out a little farther, and then I'm going to test it with my fingers to see if my wall thickness is uniform, getting thicker, or getting thinner. I'll make another cut or two and then we'll stop checking wall thickness. Now, I'm not shooting to make a thinnest wall bowl, but I am shooting to have one that feels fairly uniform. And my fingers tell me that towards the bottom of this cut, it's getting a little thicker. So I'm going to pick up about halfway down here and clean up this top inch. That feels fairly uniform. Now I'm going to go down to the next edge. Before I do that though, I'm going to take care of these edges and make sure I'm perfectly happy before I get down and have that lack of support for this cut. So I'm going to clean up these edges real quick. I'm keeping it relatively square, just it's a style thing, but I did break these 2 corners to be sure that I didn't accidentally run my hand into it and risk getting cut. A sharp corner on a piece of wood like poplar even will cut you, so I don't want that to happen. So I'm ready to go down another inch, and we'll just keep working down. So let's see how I did. We could take calipers, but my fingers are pretty accurate right now, and I can tell from right here it's starting to get thicker. So I'm going to pick up the cut from there and turn the tool a little less to make those walls match. One more cut. Pretty good. I'm going to make one more cut and then take it down just a little bit farther. I left a lot of little ridges in here. Oh, that feels pretty good. As a cut. Each of those ridges served a purpose. It gave me a place to start the cut with the tip of the tool. I can set it against that groove and go on down. The last cut, as you saw, I went much more slowly. Blending these two, there's still a little bump in here, and we have another video which will talk about cleaning up all this, but I will make one more cut down to here, and then we are going to come across the bottom with a different tool. You see that cut this time? I was using the top side of the tool. That's that shear cut I showed you on the outside. I just did it on the inside to blend these two cuts together. There's still a little bump there, but I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to come around in another video and talk about a tool that cleans that up really, really nice. Well, I went back and got a pair of figure-8 calipers, and with these I now can check wall thickness. Pretty good. And here it's getting thicker. And this is what I want to know, is how much meat do I have in the bottom? I got that much. I need that much. I'm in good shape. But I need to know. So a few more cuts here, take some of this mass away, and then I'm going to go to my bottom feeder. See how we're doing. Well, that hasn't changed. Down at the bottom. See how it's getting thicker? So right about in here, I need to start taking a little bit more out. Now, it's okay to have a little extra mass at the bottom. This is about bowl gouges and not about bowl making. So I'm going to take this pedestal out. I'm still holding that tool horizontal, still at the 45 degree, and just simply moving across like this, third part of the bowl cut. Now, I know it's getting a little thicker right about here, so what I'm going to end up doing is continuing that cut a little bit, bringing that curve around a little bit. Check again. Still need a little bit more off. This should be my last check. Yeah, good. So now I have a hump right in the center that needs to come out, and if I go in with this gouge, I'm going to be hitting the tool like this. Excuse me. It's going to look like this. That's what I call an unsupported cut. We're cutting with the edge, but I'm not getting the support of the bevel. Could I do that if I hang on well? Yes. But wouldn't it be better to have a tool where I can actually get the support of the bevel? And that's where the shorter beveled tools work very nicely. And I'm checking to see where the bevel is. It's right about here. This tool's a little fatter, so I'm going to drop the tool rest just a smidge. And that looks like that's going to go right through the center, and that looks like about the right angle to present this tool. So I'm going to clean up this last little bit with that. And there we have a cut all the way across the bottom. I feel a little ridge right in here. I feel a little bump right in here. It's not perfect yet. So, in our next video, we're going to talk about ways to complete the inside of this with a tool that's much simpler to use, but has a learning curve of its own. So come back for bowl scrapers. See you next lesson.